CoIntelPro, which is Counterintelligence Program. This is the government's way of dealing with subversive organizations. Government program aimed at investigating and disrupting dissident political organizations within the United States. This is very common with the Black Panthers. I think that's probably the most glaring case of it.
No peace!
But it even happens still today. This is during the G20 protests.
How you doing tonight, guys? Good? He did what?
He broke my flash and my camera.
Who did that?
This guy.
This guy right here?
He walked by and pushed it down and snapped it. I saw his friend hand off a canister of O2 gas to the guy
So this is obviously 3 police agents who are trying to infiltrate the protesters, and very often the police end up becoming agitators, looking for violent action, and then to arrest or use political force on the peaceful protesters. But the crowd ends up calling them out and showing them for who they are, and they just basically stand there like drones. So as far as CoIntelPro, these guys basically get a big fail.
What if they dressed up like police?
Yet the government uses these revolutionary tactics they are trying to suppress here on other nations like Iran and Venezuela to destabilize their governments. So all the tactics that they're using to stop dissent here, they actually are using the CIA and other undercover operations to destabilize other governments around the world. Subverting revolutionary organizations. They use infiltration. Agents become members to spy, recruit, or act as activists, leading the group astray or discredit the movement. Psychological warfare. Plant false media stories about an organization, counterfeit movement materials, or even intimidate family members who are not aware. They can legally harass them with the FBI, police, inspectors. And even illegal methods have been used. Breaking and entering, vandalism, assault, even assassinations. One thing that I perpetually ran across during researching the freedom movement and all the stuff that I spent all this time on the internet, I was constantly saw, not that I was personally broached, but I would always see people going, we should go kill those bastards, or let's take them out, or let's shoot this guy, let's do this. I guarantee each one of those people were government employees trying to loop in unsuspecting people, to try to get them to do something stupid, to set them up. If anybody in your organization, in your life, starts preaching anything with violence or illegal to fight for this movement or your freedom, stay away from them, call them out if they're in a group, don't associate with them, basically stay away from them, because most likely they're a plant trying to get you into trouble. This revolution is about ideas. It will be won with education. At no point should there be any need to go start whacking politicians or bankers or anything along those lines. On April 26, 1976, congressional investigation on CoIntelPro had 2 major findings. CoIntelPro was more than simply violating the law or the Constitution. In CoIntelPro, the Bureau secretly took the law in their own hands, going way beyond the collection of intelligence and beyond its law enforcement function to act outside the legal process altogether and to covertly disrupt, discredit, and harass groups and individuals. A law enforcement agency must not secretly usurp the functions of judge and jury, even when the investigation reveals criminal activity. But in CoIntelPro, the Bureau imposed summary punishment not only on the allegedly violent, but also nonviolent advocates of change. Such action is a hallmark of the vigilante and has no place in a democratic society. The sustained use of such tactics by the FBI in an attempt to destroy Dr. Martin Luther King violated the law and fundamental human decency. And those are congressional findings on the FBI. For those who don't know about Ruby Ridge, this is a perfect example of CoIntelPro as the federal government was trying to infiltrate a white supremacist group where Randy Weaver was. So I'll let the video speak.
Some conspiracy theorists say that the demonization of Randy Weaver as a white supremacist is thematic of the New World Order's tactics, that they falsely accuse anyone of anti-Semitism who gets too close to the truth. Could this be true? One thing's for sure, in terms of Randy Weaver, the white supremacy angle was clearly working.
Okay, let's talk about another civil rights issue, this Randy Weaver. He was in the Aryan Nation.
My neighborhood, if a guy put swastikas on his kids, I would be a little suspicious. I would say, come on over, we'll have some fruit.
The government is saying the order to the men in the field is shoot to kill. And they shot to kill. They killed the dog.
They killed the dog.
Killed the dog, then they killed the son. And they shot him in the back. The next one
they shot the dog in the back. Can you believe that, Gary? That is... Oh, man, that's a canine American. He's got his rights.
That was the worst thing that happened.
Shot Stryker in the back and hit his spine, and little Samuel, who raised the dog from a pup, saw him run around in circles yiping and then fall dead. Sammy opened fire on the agents that had shot his dog and said, you guys killed my dog, and he opened fire and shot several times, and as it turned out he didn't hit anybody. But then when they of course fired back at him with military rifles, these automatic fire rifles, and almost cut his left arm off. Now remember, he was about the size of a 10-year-old boy, you know, small. So they shot his left arm to where it was just hanging by the flesh, and little Samuel turned around and ran up the mountain and screamed to his dad, I'm coming home, Dad. And at that time, my fellow officers took a MP5 machine gun and just sprayed him right up the back as he's running away and murdered him right there. And when you machine gun a little boy running away from you and shoot a mother holding a baby in the head, you got jury appeal.
Not to kill, they killed the dog.
They killed the dog.
Killed the dog, then they killed the son, and they shot him in the back. The next one
they shot the dog in the back. Can you believe that, Gary? That is... Oh, man, that's a canine American. He's got his rights.
That was the worst thing that happened.
It wasn't causing any danger. This was a decorated
You know what? If you're bringing up your kids in the Aryan Nation, you are causing danger because you're spawning hate in America.
The Weaver family were never as hardcore in their beliefs as the people at Aryan Nations. Randy and Vicky were not obsessed with hating Jews. They were not white supremacists. But they liked the neo-Nazis as people, shared their hatred for the government, and enjoyed their picnic areas and summer camp activities.
What I remember is things like the candy hunts and meeting friends in the playground.
It was at Aryan Nations that the Weavers' problems began. The US government had infiltrated the compound, hoping to recruit some of the less hardcore members as undercover informants. They asked Randy to become one.
Randy said, no, I don't want to do it. You know, I moved out of the city, up on top of this mountain because you guys are all rotten. I don't want to work with you. I know what you're up to. I don't want to be a part of it. Go away. So then the government, as it is today, decided you can't say no to God, our government, so now we're going to make you serve us. So they sent a infiltrator in that was a snitch for the federal government to become friends with Randy. And you know the story about asking him to saw off 2 shotguns.
First he said machine guns. I said, I can't get to no machine guns. He says, well, how about sawed-off shotguns? They're real good. I go, oh, well, no problem. That's easy.
He grabs his file and he files it. You know, he saws the barrels off, not knowing he's violating federal law.
I totally don't understand why they even came to my dad to ask him to saw off shotguns. It makes no sense to me. It just blows my mind that they didn't even care.
But for the government, Randy had the makings of a perfect undercover informant. A slightly crazy person who was friends with far crazier people. A family man with bad finances. How could he turn them down? In fact, Randy made a big show of turning them down.
Mr. Weaver, we can get you on 6 or 7 federal firearms violations. but we'd probably forego that if you'd join our team. And I just kind of, I don't think so. And he just come clear across the seat and got right in my face. He says, well, that's the way we do it, right? He says, tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, you'll be down Spokane Federal Building, and don't tell anybody you're coming, not even your wife. About that time, Vicky come walking out of the cabin by me and said, hey, Vic, come here. She walked over to the truck and didn't remember their names and faces. And they go, we got to go. Peeled out of the gravel, throwing rocks, took off. They knew I wasn't coming down Spokane the next day.
We're up on the hill, just about straight across from where the house was, where Horiuchi was apparently placed strategically.
That was the sniper.
Mm-hmm. You can see very clearly, at least I know where the house was, but I can see everything real clearly from here. You can see that old cook stove laying on the platform right now. If I can see that, and he had a scope, I know he could see a lot more. He first took a shot at my dad and hit him in the back, came out through his armpit. And then, as they were running into the house, he shot my mother, and it went through her head and killed her, and the bullet then entered Kevin Harris.
Where was your mother at the time?
Standing right about where that cook stove is. It'd be about exactly where she was. She was holding my little sister, who was 10 months old at the time.
The bullet had come through the window in the door. Would have went through Vicky's face here and come out this, or let's see, she was facing that way. Would have come in here, out here, right over the baby's head.
I think it was Dad picked Elishba up out from underneath Mom and handed her to me. And she had blood and stuff all over her head, and we were afraid that she had gotten hit too, but she was okay. It was just Mom's blood. And that's when we went around and drew the curtains on all the windows. And shut the door, obviously, and we didn't come out after that.
They called me white supremacist, but that's big news. That kind of stuff sells newspapers, I believe. Who wants to report on the ice cream social at the Methodist Church? That won't sell a damn thing. This is going to sell, because this is exciting stuff. People go to car races to see wrecks. They don't go to watch people run in circles. They love blood and guts. People are cruel.
So that was Ruby Ridge in basically 7 minutes. I think the key points here are, again, to see that the government will try picking on somebody who's very susceptible. They looked for Randy Weaver because they saw that he was a family man, so he had something to lose. He wasn't a loner all by himself. He had bad finances, and he wasn't necessarily as intellectually ingrained person in this whole white supremacist movement, but he was friends with those people. So they sought to target him and entrap him. They got him to do an illegal act, which got them in their minds to own him. They used that same intimidation. Okay, well, you committed a crime, but you know what? If you come with our team, we'll waive all those crimes. And that's why it's so important to maintain an absolute spotless record and not commit crimes, because once they have you, they've got you. And they'll bend you and twist you and never let you go. It's just like the mob. And then the other fact is, think about what this means. You get a government agency who basically got this guy to saw off an end of a shotgun, whoop-de-doo. I know it's against the federal law, but it's, he's not making a bomb or anything like that. Got him to commit a quote-unquote crime, and then when he refused to play by their rules, they came after him and hunted and killed his wife, and eventually shot his dog and his son. And until he got held up and negotiating team, another team came in to negotiate it. And Randy Weaver ended up winning $1 million, which is barely a slap on the wrist for the government. But it's important to see this.